when you thought it was over, comes a new beginning. Or Friday the 13th Part 5, which was the subtitle for this movie. This movie almost got an X rating. And what people, okay kids, what you don't know is an X rating isn't just, people going around having sex and everything. It was what an NC-17 is and everything.
Yeah.
It was, there was a lot of stuff that was very, very violent scenes and everything that got cut out of this movie.
Gratuitous amounts of gore, buckets of blood kind of thing. I mean, it was really graphic. I mean, I think I was maybe about 15 at the time I saw it. Maybe a little bit older.
Yeah,
than that.
it was. I think it came out in '85. I want to say '85 is when I think Part 5 came out.
Yeah.
But it was basically, you should have called it The Ghost of Jason because.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, when you get down,
they ended it in 4. They basically killed him in 4. So.
The character Tommy. Okay, what happened was that it's 10 years later. Tommy is a little more grown, but he's going into halfway houses because he had been spending some time in the mental institution for what he went through. And what happened was he comes to this place and with a bunch of troubled kids, and one of the troubled kids accidentally get killed. And then one of these kids and everything, they gets picked up and everything. And you find out that to make a long story short and everything, one of the fathers of this kids that got axed to death by one of the other kids and everything, he goes on a killing spree. He basically, dresses up as Jason and goes on a killing spree. It's basically a copycat killer. It's what, you don't know. You think Jason's back, but it's not really Jason. When you find out at the very end that it's this ambulance guy who just picked up his kid that he sees all hatched up, he breaks down and he decides, oh, well, I'm going to kill everybody, and I'm going to use this Jason persona to try to cover up my tracks. And you come to find out that, it wasn't Jason the whole time, and then, as I said, I'm going to make this short because this was a bad movie.
Yeah.
This was bad.
It was
it was successful. It was successful nonetheless, but it was a really bad movie. And then at the end of the film, one of the survivors, there was like 3 survivors this time, the little black boy with the red-headed suit. They're trying to capitalize on the whole E.T. Elliott thing, I think, at the time. And then the young woman who was in one of the heads of the in-house outhouse patient treatment thing was in the hospital room, and she was there checking on Tommy, and then she notices Tommy's in bed sleeping. She walks out to talk to the police, and Tommy wakes up and he sees the ghost of Jason, and then the ghost of Jason just disappears, and then Tommy reaches over to his bedside into his this drawer, and he picks up Jason's mask, or he picks up a hockey mask, and then she comes back in after hearing glass break, and then all of a sudden, she's standing there at the window, and then Tommy, wearing a hockey mask, comes up behind her with a knife, and it cuts off like that. So now you're thinking, okay, Tommy's going to be the new killer for this series.
Right.
Well, I'd have to say that that was, I don't know. It just, honestly, Part 5 should really just be forgotten altogether.
It was tough to follow. It was just not a good film. I mean, altogether, like I said, as a fan of the series, I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I've been able to get into pretty much most of the series, but that was just one case I just did not enjoy the film.
Yeah,
and hard to stay with.
Yeah, and then of course, the following year they come out with Part 6. This time they did decide, well, okay, that Part 5 did not work. We're going to abandon that storyline, and we're going to bring Jason back because that's why the fans are coming to see these movies.
That's when more or less they came to the conclusion that followed in everyone that Jason was unkillable.
I mean,
it hit that point where they knew the fans were there for Jason. They knew if they killed him off and left him dead, that it just wouldn't work. It'd kill the franchise.
Yeah, and something that we're going to touch base on in a future episode, hopefully by October, we're going to touch on the Halloween series.
Yeah.
The filmmakers realized with Halloween 3, without Michael Myers, you don't have a Halloween movie. But to get back to Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Had a really good soundtrack. It had a metal soundtrack.
It did.
Alice Cooper did the theme song called "The Man Behind the Mask." Yeah,
I think he actually made an album out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even I think did a nice, cool music video.
Yeah.
And the opening of the movie, kind of James Bond-ish, I believe.
A little bit.
He's walking past and everything, and he throws an axe or a machete and everything. He does a little James Bond type of spear thing.
Yeah.
That those films are notable for starting off, but I mean, it had humor.
Yeah.
It added humor. This one had some humor. Basically,
a little dark humor, but it was
I mean, and the director and everything, he seemed to, he grasped this character and everything. He seemed to have fun with it and everything. He didn't wanted to take it too serious like all these other the other parts did.
One of the things I really liked about number 6 was the fact that it gave you more than just gore to be there for.
Yeah.
You were there to see a horror movie.
Yeah.
But it gave you more to, engross you into the story, to make you think, oh my God, what's going to happen next,
Yeah,
Which is rare.
Yeah. And I enjoy Part 6. Really, and I tell you what, it has one of the best teaser trailers. If you want to, look it up on, if you rent the movies, or buy the movies and everything, again, you always see the trailer to Part 6. It's a teaser trailer. You don't need to really see the trailer. The teaser trailer itself is priceless and everything. Because it does this slow, it shows rain and it pans down onto the cemetery and goes closely up. And I forgot what the narrator was saying and everything, but then it slowly comes up. I don't even think it had narration, honestly. And it slowly goes up and it shows on this tombstone, and the lightning flashes, Jason Voorhees, and then a lightning bolt strikes and blows up the tombstone, which the director still has that tombstone in his backyard. And if you watch the documentary, he talks about that some meter maid and everything, to check his meter for his power meter and everything, actually came back and called his bosses and everything, saying, I think this guy has somebody buried in his backyard. But anyway, the tombstone blows up in the teaser, and the grave pops up, and the casket opens up and everything, and it's empty, and it says, returning soon, or coming soon, or coming back, something like that of the nature. I said, check out the teaser trailer to Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Again about this movie is that it had some really cool death scenes. It basically had this the sheriff and everything, basically getting folded in half.
Yeah. Which became one of Jason's iconic kills later on, in the series, which was really cool.
And the way that they brought him back and everything, Tommy, what happens is that Tommy's driving with a friend and everything, they escape the mental hospital, and he goes and he digs up Jason's grave. And what he was going to do is going to basically, burn Jason's coffin and everything, which, it's ignoring Part 5 altogether. It's basically ignoring Part 5 and anything. So anything that you listen in Part 5, just ignore it because it doesn't matter anymore.
It almost stands apart from the entire series.
Yeah. But what it did, it was, he's there, he's digging it up, and he's going to burn the body and everything. And it's clearly that Jason's dead. Well, what Tommy does is, out of fit of rage and everything, because, he's remembering what happened, that this guy killed his mother and everything, and he's put him in this mental state and everything. He takes something off this rail, off of a metal fence, and he starts stabbing the body. Well, he leaves the thing in there, and the bolt of lightning strikes him. Yeah. And his buddy that's with him, who was the character Rorschach, I believe on Welcome Back, Kotter, I think.
I'll have to take your word on that.
Yeah, I can't remember the character. He did the key, like Mr. Kotter. If anybody who watches the show, I haven't watched an episode of Mr. Welcome Back, Kotter in years. So, by the way, that's a show John Travolta started on. If you kids don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I think they're going to be confused about Yellow Pages.
Yeah. And that's pretty much, I
get the feeling this whole thing is going to be a bunch of kids Googling just, wiki and everything.
Just Wikipedia, 80s, 80s cultural
Better yet,
icons.
ask your parents.
Well, most of their parents are our age, so ask your grandparents,
There you go.
I'm hoping, yeah.
But it all started out with that lightning striking that wrought iron stave from the fence for the graveyard. brought Jason back to life. You know, it was one of those scenes that really made you, really made you kind of appreciate Jason. And in my opinion, it was kind of a throwback to Frankenstein.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Which I really liked. You know, I like the
I
old,
was choking. I couldn't say anything.
Yeah, I like the old fox monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he basically turned into a zombie.
Yeah.
Which some people, you have your pre-zombie Jason, which those are the fans of the original, and then you have your post-zombie Jason fans, which would make sense, after a couple killings of being, beat up and clawed, you're going to look like crap. I mean, you're going to look like Joan Rivers before, or after the makeup, But
I just had a thought that if somebody does that to Joan Rivers, that quite possibly her coming back.
yeah, that wouldn't be much.
I'm not going to
better.
be sleeping tonight.
But as I said, really, we recommend Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. A lot of cool death scenes, really cool soundtrack. At the end, Tommy tries to, he separates himself from trying to save some kids and everything that were actually at the camp.
Yep.
And he, puts a ring of fire around him in the lake, and he gets Jason's attention and everything. And he has this chain with this big boulder in this boat. Like a pontoon boat, and this is a big boulder, which I'm surprised did not sink this boat to begin with, but that's movie magic.
Yeah.
And then what happened was that he puts the Jason jumps out of the water, and he puts the chain around Jason's throat and everything, and Jason's getting stuck underwater, and he's keeping Tommy underneath, and Tommy's losing his breath and everything, and then the girl comes out there to try to save Tommy, and then Jason tries to drag her under, so she pulls the propeller. And I don't know how, it makes no sense of how, when it comes to, he's basically stuck on the bottom.
Yeah, on the bottom, and the propeller still somehow,
The measurements don't add up.
12 feet from the boat, it's still down by him,
Yeah, the measurements don't matter, measurements don't matter in movies.
Movie magic.
Yeah. But then the machete, the blade and everything cuts him in the face, and it makes it look like his throat or head's all cut up from his body and everything. But then she brings Tommy back up to the shore and everything, revives him and everything, and Tommy's like, it's finally over. Well, it cuts to the daytime, and then it shows Jason kind of stuck on this chain that's tied to this boulder, and he's just floating there underwater. And then, it cuts to his eyes and everything, that he's still alive and everything, and it's going to continue on, which it did.
It did.
And what comes after that?
Number 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was titled A New Blood.
Yeah.
And it was also somebody's first appearance as Jason. Who was that?
Kane, I can't remember.
Kane Hodder.
Kane Hodder.
Kane Hodder's first go at as Jason. And as we said, we're going to move on to this, move on and everything and talk about Kane Hodder. Part 7 was wasn't too bad, but it was a little bit. The director, the director had his movie. What he has said is that the MPA butchered my movie.
Yeah.
And if you, as I said, watch the documentaries, he'll talk about it very
I
candidly.
think we have to explain the MPA.
The Motion Picture Association of America.
There you go.
They decide the ratings of a movie. And what happened was that they were like, this movie's just a little too gory.
Yeah.
And
But you would figure after 3, and
yeah.
You would figure it wouldn't be that bad, but
But what happened was it's the same plot.
Yeah.
The main focal character, this one young lady, has these psychic abilities, and she's running out of the house. I'm not clear why she's running out of the house when she's a very small girl. She's probably at the age of 8, and she accidentally, with her mental telepathy or something, she accidentally kills her father. Well, she comes back 10 years later or something, back to the house and everything, and she's in therapy, and she's trying to bring her father back, and she accidentally resurrects Jason out of the grave.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be again, the timeline makes no sense. Just watch the YouTube. I'm going to keep telling you this. Just watch the YouTube videos when it comes to the Friday the 13th timeline. I'm going to keep saying that.
It's like I said, you try to get hung up on the timeline, and you lose sight of the whole series.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyway, she brings Jason back, and Jason's like, you can see his spinal cord, and he's a mess, and it's the same plot. He goes around, kills everybody. He actually kills Bernie, the guy from Weekend at Bernie's. He actually kills him. That would have saved us a lot of Weekend at Bernie's too, because that movie sucked too.
Yeah, they should have ended it with that. Just Jason just murdering him, just the end. But overall, it wasn't bad. It was
I mean, I didn't like it too much, but as I said,
I think where they tried to really, bring in just outside supernatural abilities to other characters, I think that's where it started to kind of unravel a little bit.
As I said, Kane Hodder's first appearance as Jason, and it was I think it was the start of the I really think the iconic take what Jason turned into and everything. I mean, of course he was known, but I think Kane Hodder brought him more into the media. I mean, he started appearing on the Arsenio Hall show as that character.
Which that's actually on YouTube.
Yeah, if you look on YouTube, Kane Hodder. And Kane Hodder's, he was so into this character and everything. He actually has right here under his lips the words "kill."
Yep.
Right here under his lips and everything. And Kane Hodder, he was a stuntman. Like most of the guys who played Jason before, there was always different guys that played Jason, were stuntmen. But Kane Hodder, he was, most of his body's burnt too.
Yeah.
He was in a bad accident. He was in I don't know, I can't remember what movie it was on that happened to him and everything. But he embraced his character, just like Robert Englund embraced the character of Freddy Krueger and made that character his own. Because honestly, you can't see nobody else play Freddy Krueger but Robert Englund.
Well, it's partially the voice of Robert Englund that makes Freddy Krueger who he is. I mean, with Jason, you don't have that so much, but what Kane Hodder did was he brought his physique into it.
Yeah, the movements. And the breathing.
Yeah, big guy, just the mannerisms.
Yeah.
Just the small things he did.
And the way he would move, he would move, take a deep breath, and then go forward and everything. He didn't, he used his body language to tell Jason's emotions and everything. Since you couldn't see his face, he didn't talk.
Yeah.
And the way he would creak his head over when he was wearing the mask, which we're now going to go into part 8, which is the third most ridiculous. This is where the writers and the director said, you know what? The director actually says, do I have to keep him in Crystal Lake? And the producers and the executives at Paramount were like, by this time, I'm sure they were pretty much fed up. I mean, this is 89. Throughout the whole 80s, Paramount is dishing these puppies out left and right. And part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
They messed with the entire movie. Just the entire premise of Jason. It was so hard to watch. It was almost comical.
Yeah.
They took Jason out of the coveralls. Put him in leather.
Yeah, basically, it looked like he did.
And I'm sorry, I don't like to hate on anything too specific, but putting Jason in leather and putting him in Manhattan is basically a gay joke.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be, terrible about it, but it just all around just a hard film to watch. I mean,
I would remember the trailer and everything. I can't remember what it was. Again, this is dating me. VHS. There was a trailer, and we were watching this movie. I can't remember what the movie was, but you see the skyline of New York, which was on the Jersey side, which
cheaper to film movie.
Yeah, and you hear the theme, the song, Frank Sinatra song, New York, dun 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 dun. Dun, dun, and it starts going down. The camera starts going down.
Another thing you need to ask your grandparents about Frank Sinatra.
Yeah,
possibly great grandparents.
Yes, and then you see this figure just kind of standing off, looking at the New York skyline, and you see the World Trade Centers and everything. And then he turns around, and it's Jason, and you see all these people screaming and hollering, bombs, people on subways, and it says Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. New York has a bigger problem, and I'm thinking. Even as a kid, this is 89 and everything. I'm still, a kid. I don't know, can't remember exactly how old I was, but I'm thinking these guys are really running out of ideas. I mean,
It was bad.
I mean, it started off with, this guy and this girl. They're on a boat. They're ready to go on a cruise for a graduation. Apparently, you can get to Atlantic Ocean through Camp Crystal Lake, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know, understand the geography of that.
The writers in past geography.
Yeah, apparently so. As I said, you guys, when you're a writer and you're doing a sequel to a movie, please just do us all a favor and study the first film. Anyway,
It helps.
yeah. Anyway, the guy and the girl, they're on a boat, and the guy's talking about the legend of Jason and everything. And somehow, moronically, he accidentally, with the anchor, takes this unexpected cable wire and it electrocutes Jason's corpse and brings him back to life, and he's off killing.
Which, bravo on the fact from getting a corpse to float all the way to New York, on the bottom of the water, mind you.
Anything, what happens, Jason happens to find this cruise line filled with, 5 kids. Why in the world they were going to use a cruise line, so a large boat, cruise line boat, for maybe less than a handful of children or teenagers to take them to New York when they could have just easily, put them on a bus.
Yeah.
That would have been a whole lot easier. I mean, where Camp Crystal Lake was supposed to be, in Vermont or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's not that long of a drive. You guys are really stretching it. And so basically, the movie should have been called Jason on a Boat. Or Jason in the Atlantic. Jason takes the Atlantic Ocean.
Jason at Sea.
Yeah, Jason at Sea.
Although that would have made it sound like a Navy flick. And
Yeah.
With the leather and being in New York, I don't know that you want to go that route.
Anyway, but the main protagonist girl and everything in this one was a young girl who has this really horrible uncle who pushes her overboard in the boat to try to teach her how to swim. And he's like, Jason's going to get you. Hurry up, Jason's going to get you. You got to swim. And oddly enough, she sees Jason underwater and he's swimming and trying to get her and everything. And then something haunts her in her dreams. But as I said, this movie had so much stereotype when it comes to people. It had the bitch, the punk rock girl, the pretty boy, the girl with the mental issues and the nerdy guy. I mean, this movie just, it's like...
It was part of the 90s, and the 90s was really heavy into stereotypes with a lot of things. Everything from comedy, to basically all media had been permeated by stereotypes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of indicative of the era, much like, Jason 2, Part 2, Friday the 13th, Part 2, and the fact that it was so intense, like in the 80s,
But, and like I said, this was 89 when this movie came out, and if you do watch this movie, bear with it, you'll see the girl who played Lady Deathstrike in X2.
Yes.
She is in the movie and everything.
Kelly Cho.
Yeah. She's in the movie and everything. I think she's the only one that actually did anything with this. I don't know who. I can't remember who played the uncle. I know he was in Space 1999.
Yeah.
That was a sci-fi show from the 70s or late 60s. But other than that, I mean, when they weren't even on Manhattan for maybe 20 minutes when actually when the boat finally.
I'll give them charity and say maybe 25.
Yeah.
Maybe 25, 30.
I mean, they all escaped from the boat with the dog.
Yeah.
I mean, the dog, gets off. As I said, I have a hard time talking about this movie because I was expecting Jason to be in Manhattan a lot more. It's very disappointing.
I don't know. Maybe they were trying to make sure that the mayor didn't, indoctrinate him into part of the government. Clean up our homeless problem. Kill as you may.
But I mean, and the one little thing was that the poster and everything. The poster, the original poster, had this really cool thing where Jason's cutting through the I Love New York logo thing, yeah. And the city of New York asked them to take that down because that's an iconic thing, and they didn't get permission. So they have what the video cover was like, Jason kind of creeping over with his mask and everything, and a knife and everything over the New York skyline, which made it really horrible. But as I said, they there was this one thing that was one little redeeming things that while Jason was going after him and when they finally made it to New York, there was this one scene where Jason looks up at this billboard. It's a hockey billboard, and this is his hockey mask.
Yeah.
And he kind of stops and looks over and creeps his head up and kind of looks over and walks away. And he notices the big hockey sign behind him and everything. Well, anyway, when it comes to the fight sequence, when it comes to the sports athlete, this black guy who was a sports athlete, oddly enough, he was in sweats too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very
Stereotypical.
Yeah,
right there,
yeah. That I would be. Not everybody wears sweats when they're athletes. It's just not. Come on.
At least it wasn't bike shorts. If it would have been bike shorts, I'd have had a problem.
Yeah. Well, that was it was predated Milli Vanilli, so so
pre-Lance Armstrong. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say when he was basically all punched out and everything, Jason did the rope-a-dope on his ass.
Pretty much.
And what did Jason do?
Yeah, popped him one.
Popped him, just went boom and knocked his head literally clean him right off the shoulder.
Clean off.
And what happened to his head?
Yeah. I can't remember what happened to his head.
It rolled down perfectly, down some line, and fell into a dumpster. And the dumpster closed. You want to know, that was just, that kind of, I think, was a throwback to the kick the bucket scene in It's a Mad, Mad World. That's an old movie from the 1960s that had just about everybody who was a star in the 1960s, and whoever was on television in the golden age of television was in that movie. So check that out. It's called The Mad, Mad World. But anyway, back to this movie. By the climax of this movie, Jason is in the sewers, following chasing after the surviving two. Of course, it's a guy and a girl. And when the girl sees her boyfriend's getting beat up by Jason, and Jason's taking it pretty lightly on this guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's just throwing him around a little bit. And
he's usually the one-shot kill, but for some reason, I guess this guy crapped in his cereal or something. He really had to take his time with it.
Yeah, he was just love tapping him with his foot. And then the girl had it looked like a bucket of chemicals or something, and she threw it in Jason's face. Yeah. And he's like, finally you actually hear him say something out of his voice or something, like he's screaming. He rips the mask off, and of course the makeup never matches from all the previous movies. Yeah. And then the girl and the guy starts running away, and Jason's kind of like staggering around and everything after. So many other times this guy has had knives, machetes, axes, something shot. Being electrocuted and everything. On fire. And a little bucket of acid and everything, or chemicals and everything.
Which you randomly find buckets in the sewer everywhere.
Yeah, well this is New York.
Yeah. That's their drinking water.
As far as we know, it could have been urine from a bum, or a few bums. So
I'd like to think they used the library.
Yeah.
Maybe they're responsible. They're right in the gutter. I don't know. I haven't lived that life.
But anyway, the boy and the girl, they find this ladder that goes to this manhole, and they're trying to push it up. The both of them are trying to push it up while Jason's trying to climb up the ladder. And then he's at the bottom of the ladder and everything, and he starts hearing water rush. And I'm not from New York. I don't know what goes on with the New York sewer system. Why the water? It
seemed like everybody went to the bathroom at that exact time.
It seemed like that. Yeah. And it was next. You started hearing a child's voice come out of Jason's mouth, and he's like, "Mommy, please don't let me drown!" And he starts spewing out water from his mouth and everything. And the water comes and just starts. I don't know if the water was chemicals or something. I'm not really sure because that part by then I was so confused about what the hell was going on, and then Jason pops out of the water, and his face starts melting and everything. And then
went Wizard of Oz on his ass.
Yeah. And then basically, when they all look down, both the guy and the girl, Jason is a child laying on the side of the sewer. Now, again, I have no idea what the hell was going on. By then, I was so exhausted by the stupidity of this movie. And I'm going to copyright stupidity of this word because that's stupid and pissed off at the same time. This movie the
writers crapped the bed on it. That's what happened. There was so much going on that went in so many different directions. It made no sense. The plot was just, I don't know if it was written in crayon or what, but it was bad.
Crayon and written backwards. You know what? I think these people actually learned to make a typewriter that actually typed backwards.
I figured one of the head writers, I was looking at the credits, was the Tic-Tac-Toe Chicken.
You think so?
I think so.
I think so too.
Either that or it was a shout out by somebody who got beat.
I mean, if you want to see, sequels gone bad,
Yeah.
this was it. And this movie, I don't know how well it did in the box office, but this movie right here was Paramount's last Friday the 13th film.